knock on the door.
Just knock on the.
Thank you. Good evening, all. My name's Patrick McGuigan, pinch hitting tonight for our chair, Mark Shapiro, who can't be with us. So let's stand, please, for a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Flags over here, folks. They moved them on us.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence for our armed forces and first responders, please. Thank you. Okay, the first item on our agenda this evening is a reorganization, which we do every year. As Mark's not here, I'll run the reorganization, which means appointing new officers for 2022. First up, chairperson of the planning. Does anyone have a person to nominate for chairman of the planning commission for 2022?
Red means that it's on there.
Mr. Chairman, or Mr. Vice Chairman, I recommend Patrick McGuigan, yourself, to be Chairman of the Planning Commission for the calendar year 2022.
Okay. Anyone else? We have a vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? I guess I don't have to move my chair the rest of the evening then, huh?
For a year.
Thanks. Anybody have a nomination to appoint someone as vice chair of the Planning Commission for 2022?
Nominate Ed Engel to be vice chair for the calendar year 2022.
Anybody else? Voice vote on nominating and appointing Ed Engel as vice chair, Planning Commission for 2022. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any negatives? Ed, you're appointed vice chair.
Thank you.
Do I hear a nomination to appoint a secretary of the Planning Commission for 2022?
Mr. Chairman, I nominate Steve Saddlemeyer as our Secretary of the Planning Commission for 2022.
Okay, any other nominations? Can I have a voice vote? All in favor say aye.
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 Okay, Steve, congratulations. So that's me as the chairperson. Like I said, I don't have to move my chair tonight. Ed is our new vice chairperson, and Steve is secretary of the Planning Commission. And I just want to say that I'm really honored. It's my 6th year on the Planning Commission, and I'm honored that my colleagues here on the board would give me the trust and faith to be the chair this year. And also I wanted to thank Mark Shapiro, our previous chair, for all his work in 2021. It was a tough year. Some meetings over Zoom and some live, and a lot of issues taken care of. So, and just my own personal view of my 6 years here, this is a very experienced and collaborative board, and we promise to serve the community, the residents in the township, and anything that comes before us in a most diligent manner. Nothing gets rubber stamped up here. A lot of people with a lot of good backgrounds and a lot of give and take on getting it right for everybody. So, thank you. Okay. All right.
I would just like to say something at this moment.
Go ahead, you're on.
I want to, as I enter my 16th year on this planning commission, I'd like to thank our Township Board of Supervisors for their faith and trust in reappointing me. I enjoy serving on this committee, and I certainly view it as an opportunity to serve my community, my township, and also I appreciate the opportunity to serve with all my fellow board members.
Thank you, Ed. 16 years. Where did they go, huh? Where do they all go? Yeah. Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other comments before we get going into the agenda for tonight? Okay, let's have someone speak up and approve the minutes of our meeting of, holy God, September 14th, 2021. Anyone?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes of September 14th, 2021 meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Second? Second?
Second.
Okay, aye. So approved. All right. Now we got rid of the busy work. Let's get into our agenda. I forgot you got a second.
You learned it.
Okay. On the agenda tonight is the Pulinski, agenda here, consideration of preliminary and final plan of land development for 1044 Pulinski LLC. Okay, so whoever would like to present to the board this evening, step forward and.
Good evening, Mike McGinnis. Whatever's. Sure. This, and you can grab a.
Mike McGinnis and.
Yes, Mike McGinnis and John.
John Richardson for
John.
QMAC Engineering.
Welcome.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having us tonight. We also have John Foles with us, who is the president of NBOC, which is National Maintenance and Build-Out Company. So that is what we're here for tonight, and we appreciate your consideration. And just as a brief overview, I'm suggesting to give a bit of a summary of why we're here. Then I think it would be useful if John Foles, who's with us, gives a little bit of background about who he is, what his business is, and what he's trying to accomplish with this plan. And then we'll have John Richardson do a bit of a rundown of the actual plan for the Planning Commission, and then address the waivers that we're requesting tonight. So the subject property is located, as you can see on the screen, basically at the convergence of Pulinski Road and what's there, Vincent Circle. The tax parcel ID number is 31-001-006-0116, and the subject property is 1044 Pulinski Road. This property is located in the Planned Industrial Office District, and it currently houses a 29,901 square foot building, which is primarily used for warehousing with associated office space. It's a 2.84 acre site. And then, as John will get into, NBOC does basically commercial general contracting, and they specialize in retail construction and maintenance. If you look at the plan that is in front of you, since this is technically a double frontage lot, we had to appear in front of the zoning hearing board a number of months ago, and one of the variances, for example, that we had to seek and were granted pertained to the front yard setback. So from a terminology standpoint tonight, we're going to refer to the building addition that we're proposing, which is 13,676 square feet, as the side yard, because functionally it is the side yard, but technically it is also the front yard because it fronts on Pulinski Road. So as you access the site, and you pull into the parking lot, as you're facing the building, the entrance to the building is, well, you can see the orientation, and then when you look at the building addition, that would be to the side of the existing structure, and the rear of the building addition would align with the building that is already located at the site. So when this was designed, we tried to design it in such a way that we would be limiting our encroachments, and the only encroachment that we really would be having would be closer to Pulinski Road, which we would then move forward with buffering and adding some green space. The additional space is going to be primarily used for warehousing. MBOC has, fortunately, is a good local company that has survived and thrived with COVID, but because of the current site limitations and the existing structure being a little less than 30,000 square feet, John's company has had to lease space elsewhere, and the hope is if we secure approval for this additional 13,676 square foot addition, we can consolidate some more of the operations internal to this particular location, which again would be primarily used for warehousing. We have certainly received the operative letters from the township, from Amanda and Craig, and the traffic letter, and we're happy to go through those tonight. I will note as a housekeeping item, we have identified 8 waivers. 7 are in the last letter from Gilmore and Associates. We have an eighth waiver that John will cover pertaining to pipe coverage. But at this point, I think it would be helpful just to have John Foles provide a bit of background about who MBOC is, who he is, and what he's attempting to do with the site. And then we'll have John Richardson go over what is actually in front of you from a technical standpoint. So thank you again for your consideration.
Thank you. My name is John Foles. I'm president of National Maintenance and Build-Out Company. I've been a resident of the township since 1976. Started National Maintenance and Build-Out Company in 2001 over at 48 Vincent Circle, expanded from 48A into 48C, as well as 60 and 62 Vincent. So I've had 4 locations over there. I purchased 1044 about a year ago. I'm still renting 60 Vincent and 62 Vincent for storage for material. Business has been good. And just asking for a favorable decision on helping me get this building done so we can continue to grow. So thanks again for your consideration.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
You're no relation to Nick Foles now, John, are you? You're no relation to Nick Foles, are you? Okay.
Anybody give me my waivers?
If you can throw it 70 yards downfield, yeah.
Just to run through the property, as Mike was discussing, the addition is going on the side, on the front yard towards Pulinski. Access is currently off of Vincent and 2 driveways off Pulinski. As part of the development, due to the number of parking spaces on site, we're proposing to add 3 parking spaces in the corner. And as to manage the increase in the stormwater management, we're proposing a dry well, an underground stone pit. It will be located in the existing parking lot. The majority of the site slopes in this direction, one way or coming around this way. This is an existing detention basin for the industrial park. Unfortunately, we weren't able to determine what it was originally designed for, so in agreeing with Gilmore's recommendation, we're providing stormwater management for all of the increase in impervious surface on the site. As Mike said, we're proposing to do a little bit of buffering. That's really it. It's not much in terms of site alterations. In Amanda's review letter, she identified an additional item that we're going to be requesting a waiver for. It's from the stormwater management ordinance. It's not from the SALDO, and it's to allow less than 24 inches of cover over a pipe. Those pipes would be located on our site. It won't be out in the right-of-way. It'll be owned and maintained by the property owner. And that's from section 23-5012A.
A or F?
That was A.
And then we're happy to provide additional color to the waiver requests that were identified and specifically stated in Amanda's last review letter. In addition to what John Richardson just addressed, there are 7 other waivers that we're requesting tonight. I think a lot of the waivers are standard waivers for development in an industrial park, but we're happy to provide additional explanation to any and all of the waiver requests. The remaining comments, as they exist in Gilmore and Pannoni's letter and McMahon's letter, are will comply items, and I will also note as a housekeeping item, I know that we provided a response letter to Gilmore's letter. I don't think Pannoni has received a response letter from their letter, and we're certainly happy, and we'll provide that before appearance in front of the supervisors.
Okay. Board comments?
I've got some comments. Just question in general, and I think you've covered it, but you have many items in here that suggest that it's an outstanding item from a previous plan letter. And have all those been resolved at this point? I know the way you provided some additional information on the specific waivers, but all the Saldo comments and the Chemney comments and where they refer to a previous letter, and have those all been resolved?
I think we have, if I'm counting correctly, we have 6, I think only 6 outstanding Saldo comments that remain in Gilmore's letter. I will defer to Amanda as to whether there's a need for an additional submission, but I think a lot of the comments, I'm just looking, for example, at the first comment is conversations regarding a fee in lieu, so there would be no substantive additional information that we would need to provide that pertains to sidewalk installation. The second comment and the third comment are deferring to the Northampton Municipal Authority for review. And then that leaves comments pertaining to tree species, requests for waivers in writing, and then ADA commentary. So I really think from a substantive standpoint, we're pretty close to having addressed everything without making any substantive revisions. So of course, with any project, there's going to be some housekeeping items that need to occur before the supervisors, and then if we receive approval before we move ahead and record the plans. But I don't think there's going to be any major changes. What you see is really what's going to be presented substantively.
Amanda, you don't have any issues with any of the outstanding items at this point?
Right, correct. Mr. McGinnis kind of covered most of the Saldo comments. There are, I would say a decent amount of stormwater comments that still remain in our letter, but it is probably a similar amount typical to other projects that are in a similar point of approval before you. So I would imagine that there would be some sort of stormwater management resubmission, but again, it would be typical, in accordance with the normal approval process. So once they would go to the Board of Supervisors, there may be a resubmission prior to that, or it could happen as a cleanup after, if there was approval from the Board of Supervisors. I do just want to clarify, I think we may need to maybe just work out the numbering of the stormwater management waiver. I see there's a waiver listed on your updated letter for the stormwater management ordinance for the pipe size minimum of 18 inches, and that's section 501(2)A. I think pipe cover is 501(2)L. I'd imagine you are probably requesting waivers actually from both of those sections.
Upon further review, you're correct.
We can always, I don't have a copy of the ordinance, but if those are the right sections, then it would be 2A and 2L.
Thank you.
Any other board comments?
I've got some more, unless
Steve?
Ed, do you want to?
Ed, any comments on the landscape?
Yes, I have 2 items I'd like to draw your attention to. Number one is you may have seen the Bucks County Planning Commission's suggestion regarding avoiding oak trees because of the inherent problems that we're facing in not just our area, but in general with the bacterial leaf scorch. You might want to consider alternatives such as a locust or some of the even a sweet gum, or perhaps one of the maple varieties.
So we have eliminated the oak from our plans.
Good,
Yeah,
okay?
we agree.
With,
We are currently proposing honey locust, American linden, serviceberry, redbud, and sweet bay magnolia.
Little caution on the linden. Japanese beetles love them. The other item I'll call your attention to is, it's been proposed with your grass seed mix, it's going to consist of a 70% Kentucky bluegrass. I have some questions regarding that in a industrial environment. Kentucky bluegrass can be a little touchy, slow to establish. Sometimes it can be a little bit more water intensive than some of the other varieties. So you might want to revisit that. At 70% Kentucky blue, that's really perhaps more of a fine residential installation.
We can certainly look into that.
Yeah, I would tweak that. It'll be to your advantage, or Mr. Foles's advantage overall, because it would require less watering for establishment. That's it.
That's it?
Okay.
Steve?
One other one on McMahon's letter, item number 5, which is the contribution to the township for upgrading that light. Do you have a position on that? Have you discussed that with anybody at this point?
It's right here. I don't think John has had with McMahon. I have not had a conversation with Mr. Pizzo yet, but I can make a representation that we're more than happy to engage in that conversation and come to an agreement, a mutual agreement between us and the township on that matter before the supervisors meeting.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that involves.
And I don't know either, but I'm happy to
But
talk about it with Joe.
They have pointed it out, so it is something that needs to be addressed.
Understood.
Anything else, Steve?
No.
Andrew, anything? Nope. Rich? Anything? Anybody? Yeah?
So I just wanted to compliment you about the site, because the building is currently very well maintained. The industrial park is aging, and some of the buildings are really aging poorly, and yet your building really is a standout in terms of the fact that it is well maintained. And I noticed you had seating for your employees to eat outside. And I said that my problem was, as I drove through the industrial park, I said the street trees have that are required in the plans have generally died and not been replaced. And so I just really want to encourage you to make sure that you do put as many trees in there as you can. I said, if you could put some back where you have your area for your employees to eat, that would, I said they might enjoy that. But my concern is that the quality of the streetscape in the industrial park has deteriorated a lot and isn't up to the original standards. And so I just went, you've done a great job, and was just hoping that especially with a 75% impervious ratio and grass, I went, wow, it would really be nice if you had some more trees.
Anybody else? Are we all good to go? Andrew, could you make a motion?
I move that we recommend to the Board of Supervisors preliminary and final approval of 1044 Pulinski LLC Land Development, SLD 21-5, subject to compliance with Township Engineers Review Letter dated January 20th, 2022, the Township Planners Review Letter dated January 20th, 2022, and the Traffic Engineers Review Letter dated January 21, 2022. It is also recommended that the request waivers be granted.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second.
Second. That's second. I'm new with this. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You got ayes have it. All right. All right, thank you. Thanks for the presentation, Mike and John and John Foles. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Any other board business we need to take care of this evening?
I think so.
Not, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you.
Short and sweet.